So listen for the whale song when you're watching this movie.
Okay.
It's like...
Wow. Not only do you do Freddy Krueger, you do this impression.
The podcast you are about to listen to is an account of the movies which befell a group of horror fans. In particular, Tara Garwood and her intrepid friend, Matt Lolich. Had they lived very, very long lives, they could not have expected, although they would have wished, to see as much of the mad and macabre as we're to see in those movies. For them, an idyllic summer movie became a nightmare, and they loved it. The movies that they watched were to lead to the creation of one of the most terrifying podcasts in the annals of American history. The Scary Movie Project.
Hey peeps, this is the Scary Movie Project, the podcast where we talk about scary movies, share our perspective as filmmakers, and lick your chest with our huge tongue and our spoilery spoilers. I'm Tara.
Wow. Hello, all. I am Matt, and I am thrilled to be joining all of you tonight. I have news for you if you want breaking news. I know you do.
Ooh.
The man of your dreams is back. In Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, Fred Krueger, as I call him, has returned, and he's up to his old tricks, and he's back. So
this was 1986, I believe, right?
Yeah, either 85 or 86. That sounds...
I think it's set in 86, I believe, because the original came out in 84, but was set in 81.
Ah, okay.
And this is 5 years later, because they say the house was...
Okay.
Nobody was living... The house took 5 years to sell.
Yeah. Well, bad
They
stuff happened.
say that, so... It's 5 years after the first film.
Bad stuff happened there, yeah.
So, directed by Jack Shoulder, not Wes Craven.
No. I don't think Wes Craven had anything to do with this, did he?
No, just lent the glove to him.
Yep, which he lost, we said, right, or something?
Well, they lost it on the third one, but
okay.
he lent it to them for this one, too.
Got it.
And then written by David Chaskin. So this was like a whole different thing. And okay, Wes Craven actually refused to work on this film.
Oh, really?
Because he never wanted to have a sequel for Nightmare on Elm Street.
I think a lot of these sequels end up that way. You know, John Carpenter didn't do much with Halloween 2. A lot of these guys are kind of like, yeah, okay, do what you want, and then maybe they get back into it later, but they seem to stay away from sequels. And
I think we talked last week about the fact that he had a happy ending where, they won, and then the producer, Bob Shea, wanted the ending where there could be a sequel, but he never wanted there to be one. He wanted a happy ending, so he didn't want to have anything to do with this film.
Happy ending.
And he also didn't like the idea of the whole main plot where Freddy is manipulating the protagonist into committing the murders.
Yeah.
Some
sequels just don't go well. They can't all be Godfather 2, right? Or Aliens.
Right.
They can't all be sequels like that.
They can't all be really dope.
Yeah.
So the other thing I found out,
but at least it's better than Exorcist 2, right? Oh man.
Well, yeah. There's that.
Perhaps the worst. We're saving you people some time, unless you really want to and you don't care. Please don't watch Exorcist 2. It's probably the worst.
I mean, now we're going to have to review it just so that we can tell people about how bad it is.
Patrick Ewing is in it, though. So if you like Georgetown basketball, you can see him. Other than that, it has no redeeming qualities.
So the other thing I wanted to tell people before we start, just to think about it as we're going through it, originally New Line Cinema wouldn't give Robert Englund a raise. So they cast an extra as Freddy in the beginning of the production, and after 2 weeks of filming, Robert Shea was like, "Oh crap, this is awful. We should have just given him what he wanted," and so they did.
Isn't that interesting? In sports and in things like that, when you realize later, we should have just paid this person the money. Yeah, how about that?
We should have just paid this person. They're actually really good at what they do.
Imagine giving someone.
How about it?
Giving someone money and paying them the value they're worth.
What
employer would do such a thing?
Who does that?
Who would do that? Yeah.
So, are we ready to dive in? Like I always say, we're ready.
Have I been rambling too long? Please go ahead.
No, you have not been rambling too long. I just didn't have anything else to say,
okay.
I figured we were ready to go. If you have more to say it, dude.
I always have a bunch of nothing to say, but it'll come as we... it'll happen organically, like it always does.
Okay. So a school bus comes down the street to the sound of this like spooky music, and it lets out some kids.
I love this scene, by the way.
Yeah, and so I love the music. It's like voices, and it's
just a good way to like. It's not surreal, but it's a cool like kind of scary way to start the movie, I guess.
Yeah. It's just cool music to have with this like very prosaic shot of like a school bus driving down the street, doo-doo-doo, and the music is like,
right. You know something spooky is gonna happen.
Yeah, you know it ain't right.
Nah.
So it lets out some kids, and then one boy on the bus is looking annoyed at the happy teens around him, and finally it's just him and two popular girls who are making fun of him.
They sure are.
And by the way, we get a cut to the bus's dashboard, right? And there is a body glove sticker on the dashboard.
Good call. I'm glad you saw it. Well, it was kind of obvious, I guess, but yeah.
It's so 80s.
Body glove, dude. Yeah.
Body glove is so 80s.
Love the body glove.
I just saw that and I was like, oh my God, we have to mention that. There's a body glove sticker.
I loved it too.
Oh God.
I'm glad we talked about this.
So,
conversation.
So the driver skips one girl's stop and he starts driving faster and faster and faster until he stops on like what seems to be the edge of a cliff.
Yeah.
And then like all the like dirt comes like out from underneath it, and you see that they're actually on like teetering on like two spikes of rock.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, by the way, this bus driver, when you see him at first, that's actually Robert Englund without the Freddy Krueger makeup on.
That's him.
And all his like signature clothing.
Yep.
So, but then we're teetering on two spikes of rock on the bus, and the driver is Freddy now, actual Freddy.
Yep.
And he like comes towards the kids and he's like scraping his knives along the seats and like on the ceiling. So creepy.
Yeah, nasty noise, yeah.
And then we cut to breakfast at Jesse's house. And we hear Jesse scream from upstairs, which is our first introduction to Jesse. And I found something interesting about this, which is that Mark Patton, who plays Jesse, he's openly gay. Mm-hmm. And he said that he sees himself as the first male scream queen.
I like that. Male scream. Okay.
Right. Partially because of all his like constant screaming throughout the movie. And then also because the film's got some kind of homoerotic subtext.
So, yes. And
he also viewed the character as a closeted gay man.
So, male scream queen. Who else have we put on that list? Bruce Campbell. Does he go on there? Is he in there? And also...
I don't know, because he... maybe? But he doesn't really scream a lot, does he? Does he scream a lot?
He did a couple of the Evil Dead. I don't know. Maybe.
I feel like he more like yells than screams.
That's a random question, I guess. But
yeah, I'm not sure.
No, I'm glad we addressed that right off the top, because this movie, whether you want to say what you want or not, there is a homoerotic tone in this movie that is a big part of the narrative of the story. So I'm not going to beat around the bush about that. That is definitely something that is happening in this movie. Yes.
Well, I read that the writers may have actually meant for that. I know there's there's debate about it, but what I read said that like they actually kind of meant
to do that. Like, give me a break. Come on, seriously.
I mean, we'll see later on. Like Jesse goes to an S&M club.
Yes. He busts into a guy's bedroom when he's asleep. Like, I mean, not come on. Like, really, that it's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Yeah. I mean, the coach is a leather daddy. So.
Yes. It's one of those things where
they have these things in there, and I don't. It's funny because it's so early, in the 80s, but I don't think they play it as like, oh, it's so funny because they're gay, or oh, like we're looking down on them. It's just kind of like in it.
Yeah,
it's just kind of
it's
there.
It's part of the story, and it shouldn't be like, a taboo thing. It just is what it is, right?
Yeah, and I think the fact that it's just there is actually kind of progressive.
I mean, why not?
It's
a time
when,
because you had 85, 86?
Yeah, 85 or 86.
You had some folks pretty scared about AIDS and gay people back then. That was a thing. That was real.
Yeah, so, here's this film that's just like,
Here it is. Yep.
Yeah, here it is. There's just some happens to be some homoerotic stuff in here.
Yep.
And we're not making a huge deal out of it.
Right.
It's just part of the story.
It's not looked at as it's not meant to be a joke. It's not part of something. It's just part of it. Exactly. So that's fine.
Yeah, it's just part of the story.
Yep.
So, anyways, now Jesse, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm a little bit like partially face blind, especially with actors. Jesse is the nerd from the bus in the beginning, right? That's his dream, I think.
Yes.
And so he's the nerd from the bus.
Yes.
But he's waking up screaming from that dream.
I believe so.
So we see that he's in his bedroom and he's in the middle of unpacking his room. And his little sister, down at breakfast, he comes down and his dad's telling me better get unpacked. And his little sister gets the toy out of her Fu Manchu's cereal, like Chews, CHEWS. Okay, that's a little racist, but okay. It's the 80s, I guess.
If it was a cereal and it made money, then the creators don't care. So
yeah, it's the 80s, I guess. So, wait, was that a real cereal?
I don't think so.
No, I think they made it up.
No, it's made up. But
and she gets the toy out, and it's these long red fingernails, and Jesse kind of like starts when he sees them.
That's good.
And then he's going to drive this pretty girl, Lisa, to school, which is weird because they just moved there, but he's already driving someone to school.
So, whatever. So Lisa, Pam from one of the Seinfeld episodes, the one where Kramer and Jerry are after the same girl. Her name is Pam. And that's the one where Newman gives him the lines to like give her the pickup lines at the library. If you've seen enough Seinfeld episodes, you know who I'm talking about. That's who this woman is. She's very young, and she's very young in this movie. But she's done other stuff.
Not know that.
But that's where I know her from a Seinfeld episode. Pam.
Okay, I did not know that.
There you go.
So also, Jesse, by the way, they considered Michael J. Fox for the role.
I could totally see that.
But he couldn't do it because he was already committed to Back to the Future and Teen Wolf.
I do love Back to the Future a lot, and I'm so glad that was. I'm glad he made the decision.
Teen Wolf's not bad either.
No, it is, but I think I like Back to the Future more.
So you know who else auditioned for the role of Jesse? We're gonna go here today. Okay, Brad Pitt,
who seems to come up in all of our episodes. Who I auditioned, I guess. All right.
Yeah, I auditioned. John Stamos.
Oh, Uncle Jesse. I don't know if I couldn't see that.
No, and Christian Slater.
Okay, maybe.
I don't really see that either. I don't know. He's a little too like suave.
Michael J. Fox, I can see. Okay.
For this sort of like innocent-y kind of kid.
Uncle Jesse, that's fine. Things worked out for him because he got Full House like 2 years later, so he's good. So
yeah,
that worked out.
Yeah, things worked out for all of these people.
Yes.
I mean, none of them are having problems. Okay,
no, their life didn't end.
They all did all right
because they missed this opportunity.
So that's why we're saying their names, right? If we wouldn't be like, know who else auditioned
this
for
random guy,
Joe Schmo,
right? How about this dude?
Some random dude you've never heard of.
Exactly.
No, we're saying they also auditioned for it because they're famous.
That's right.
So in gym class, Jesse gets conked in the head by a baseball. And then he outs a jock, like he gets him out.
They just start brawling.
Is that what you call it? He outs him. He gets him out.
That's fine.
While they're playing baseball.
And they just
and the guy
brawling.
Pants him.
Yeah, he does.
Well, the guy pants him first. And it's like total full on total full on Mark Patton butt.
You're kind of really not expecting that. You're like, okay, all right.
Yeah, and then they start fighting.
Yeah.
And the coach makes them do push-ups and stay after class.
Yes, he does.
And so this kid who Jesse fights with is Ron Grady. So you'll hear us call him Ron. You'll hear him call us Grady at different times because that's what they did in the movie. But in the locker room, they're like chatting while they're doing their push-ups. And then in the locker room, Grady tells Jesse the house he just moved into. He's like, oh, you moved into the house with bars on the window, right? And he says that's because the girl who lived there got locked in by her mother and she went crazy when her boyfriend died.
Crazy.
She went crazy. So another one, by the way, Robert Russler, I think I said that right.
Okay.
Is who plays Ron Grady. He auditioned for the role on the last day of shooting for Weird Science when he was in that.
Weird Science, all right.
And he was driven to the audition by Robert Downey Jr.
Okay, it's interesting.
So he's buds with Robert Downey Jr., or at least was at the time.
I'm sure they did a lot of coke together. All right.
I mean, maybe this was pre-coke era for Robert Downey Jr. I don't know.
Could be.
I don't know exactly when that started for him, so.
I don't know.
But they were friends apparently, and old Robert drove him to the audition.
Bob, okay.
old Bobby. So that night, Jesse can't sleep, so he goes down to the kitchen, and he sees something moving in the yard, and he goes out to check, which we've already learned in the first movie. This is not a good idea. Don't go outside to check. Like, it's not smart.
That's what we do in these movies. Come on.
This is what we all do.
Yes.
So then he's outside, and through the window into the, like, cellar, he sees someone in there getting something out of the boiler. Someone. In a red and green striped sweater.
Oh, I know who it is.
Yeah. Do you know who it is? I think you do.
I know who it is.
Jesse tries to go down there, and then he changes his mind and, like, tries to close the door, but it won't close. And he, like, turns around to run, and Freddy's there right in front of him. Yeah. Freddy tells them they've got work to do together, and he says, "You've got the body, I've got the brain." I did that very bad impression there, but I'm going to keep doing it anyways.
And then he peels his head off.
And he peels the top of his head off, to show his, like, brain. And Jesse wakes up screaming.
Then the serious screaming, yes.
And then we're in science class, and the teacher's talking about the human waste system.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's chuckling. And then he, like, pulls out a heart. He starts talking about the heart, and he pulls out a heart and, like, slaps it on his desk. And Jesse, like, starts to fall asleep. And then a snake is slithering over Jesse's shoulder and around his neck, and he wakes up screaming, and the snake is really there.
Yeah.
And the teacher takes it away from him and scolds him for playing with it during class. So someone was playing a prank on him. Probably Ron Grady.
Probably.
I'm just guessing. Now, later on that day, I guess after school, Lisa is swimming, and her mom tells her, "There's a Jesse on the phone." And so she gets a call from him. And then Jesse's about to go out, presumably to go see Lisa. And his dad makes him go back upstairs and clean his room instead.
His dad is such a,
His dad's a hard ass.
He's like a goon, yeah.
Yeah, his dad's a real hard ass. So he, like, dumps all his boxes into the drawers as he's, like, dancing around to his boom box. A boom box, for you youngins, is a thing we used to use to play tapes, which are things that had music on them.
People still use them. I don't think those ever disappeared. They're around still.
They're still around with tapes and everything?
I think so. I think people still use them.
Okay, so he's dancing to his boombox, since apparently everybody already knows what that is, and I'm just one of those olds making jokes, thinking I'm funny.
It's all right.
And he's, like, dancing around, and he's making a really lewd gesture with something he's holding. I don't know what it is exactly,
those pop tops that you put the cup in the I forget what it's. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, it's like a stick with a ball.
Yep.
On a string or something.
Use your imagination, of course, too.
Yeah, and so he's making this lewd gesture with it, and his mom shows up with Lisa.
Yep.
And now is where I point out that Jesse's dance scene was an homage to Risky Business.
There you go.
And according to Mark Patton, it was apparently very popular in gay clubs at the time. So we have that connection to our LGBTQ community as well in this movie. Now, Lisa comes in. She helps him clean his room. She only teases him a little bit. Right. And then she finds a diary in his closet.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It belonged to none other than Nancy Thompson. Nancy. So Lisa starts reading it, and they get to some passages about Freddy. And they're sort of like, at first they're like, it's funny, and they're like teasing her about talking about her boyfriend. And, and what she thinks about him at night. And then they start coming to passages about Freddy, and it stops being so funny.
Yeah, not really.
And Jesse tells her about what Grady told him. And that night, Jesse's, like, tossing and turning, and he wakes up, and it's so hot that things in his room are melting.
Oh, he keeps saying, like, the air conditioning doesn't work in his room or something.
Yeah, they keep saying the air conditioning doesn't work. The mom, I think, says it at some point, too, and the dad's like, oh, it's fine. Yeah. So things in his room are all just, like, melting, and he goes downstairs into the basement, and he opens the boiler door, and he finds a package inside, and it's Freddy's glove. So, as we mentioned last week, and just earlier, this is the original glove from the first movie, so... because it was lent to the production. So he finds Freddy's glove. And then the boiler turns on, and Freddy is there laughing. And he says, "Go ahead, Jesse. Try it on for size. Kill for me." I know, I'm doing really bad, right?
No, that's not
Should
too
you
bad.
do it? Are you better at it than me?
You can do it. It's fine.
I'm just going to keep doing it until somebody is like, calls into the show and is like,
tell her to stop.
"Oh, dear God, make her stop.
Please tell her to stop.
Please make her stop." This is, of course, by the time you call in, we'll have recorded these episodes probably. So it'll be too late. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance.
But you can still, but please make fun of her. We encourage you to do that.
Sure. Always make fun of me. Make fun of him. What am I talking about? Make fun of Matt.
Please.
So,
I encourage it.
Everybody. Make fun of everybody. So this is actually, we see Freddy, and Freddy's got the striped sweater. This is actually the first Nightmare on Elm Street where his sweater has stripes on the sleeves too.
Okay.
And I didn't even notice this, but in the first one, the stripes were only on the torso. Huh. And in all the other ones, they're on the sleeves as well.
That's okay. I don't think I ever have noticed the difference, but okay. All right.
So anyway, so Freddy does the whole, "Go ahead, Jesse, try it on for size, kill for me." And Jesse drops the glove, and when he wakes up, it's still there. Mm-hmm. Now we find out the next day at school that Lisa is having a party this weekend, and her friend, I think her friend's name is Carrie, is that right? But I don't think they ever actually say it in the movie. So I'm just going to keep calling her friend.
Okay, that works. Lisa's friend.
Lisa's friend teases her about it.
Yes.
She teases her about her dad playing records for it, actually. Yes. And Jesse and Grady are like becoming bros now, and they get in trouble again. They're doing more push-ups, like right. They're buddies. And that evening, Jesse's whole family is complaining about the heat. And the dad goes to the thermostat and is like, "It's 97 degrees.
Could you imagine?
And oh my God. Yes, because we had that happen this summer where
97,
where we came home from being out of town and something had happened to the AC, and it was like 90 some degrees in the house for like a day until we figured out what was wrong with it and fixed it.
I'd die. Oh my God.
Luckily it was only a day, but it was really, really hot. I don't think it was 97 degrees. I think our dogs would have been miserable, but it was probably about 89 or something. It was like upper 80s. It was really hot. Also, I could be exaggerating. I just know it was really hot.
Really hot. Yes, we'll go with really hot.
Not this hot though, because it's so hot that the birds they've got.
How hot is it?
These little. How hot is it? These birds they've got in their cage, they're little like lovebirds or something, right? They're just sweet little like parakeets or lovebirds or something like that. They get out of their cage, they go absolutely crazy. They're like flying around at everybody in the room until finally they burst into flames.
Yes.
Which is insane. And this is not while anybody's asleep either.
No, just yeah, I know. That doesn't happen every day.
What could possibly have made this better than two birds flying around crazily, like landing on everybody's heads and then bursting in flames?
Tell me.
If these birds were visibly demonic.
How would you find...
Special effects man Rick Lazzarini actually created a demonic parakeet puppet for this scene.
Demonic parakeet.
But it wasn't used because the filmmakers decided they wanted a regular looking bird.
I mean, I would have gone demonic, but that's just me.
I feel like that is a missed opportunity.
Oh, to have a demonic...
Like,
how many movies have demonic parakeets in them?
Right? I mean, if you're gonna do the cheesy, like, birds flying around all over the place, go for the demonic birds. Do it. Right. Just go all out. Like...
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, don't hold back. Do it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So later on, Mom and Dad are trying to figure out, like, what happened to the birds. Is it a leaky gas pipe or what? And then Dad accuses Jesse of doing it, and Jesse storms out. Now, yet again, Jesse wakes up in the middle of the night and goes to the kitchen. And it's raining, and he leaves the house, and he walks to, I guess, I saw it referred to as an S&M club. I had originally just called it a bar, but I guess it's an S&M club called Don's Place.
Don's Place.
He orders a beer and he pours it, but the coach is there, dressed all in leather. Like I said, the coach looks like a leather daddy.
Yeah.
And he catches him being there. So he takes him to the gym, to the school, makes him run circles in the gym while he watches. And then Jesse's taking a shower in the locker room. And the coach is in his office.
I love how the coach does this to him. I'm sorry. If I was in high school and you caught me at a bar, fine, and told me to go, I'm not going anywhere with you.
Yeah.
We're not at school, and you're not my fucking parent. No, I'm not going anyway. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's very
going anywhere with you.
It's very unbelievable and
Sorry,
very sort of innocent. It's
a movie.
Innocent
it's a movie.
kid fallacy.
I know, fine, whatever.
If that's even a thing, but
anyway,
yeah, definitely.
I just had to mention that.
So Jesse's taking a shower in the locker room. The coach is in his office, and he hears something. He looks around for the source of the noise, and the strings on one of the tennis rackets all go pop, pop, pop,
Mm-hmm.
pop. And then the basketballs fall off their shelves, and like all the gym equipment starts attacking him.
Yeah.
And finally, 2 jump ropes get around his wrists and drag him down the hall into the showers. And he gets tied to the faucets and stripped, and then a towel floats up and like snaps his ass. and
Yeah, it just
and then through
moments.
and then through the steam, Freddy appears and kills him.
Sure does.
And Jesse's like watching this and like, oh shit. And then Jesse suddenly sees that the Freddy glove is on his own hand and he screams.
Yeah.
What does Jesse do when he sees things?
Screams.
He screams.
And he has quite a scream.
Absolutely right, Matt. Jesse screams.
Quite a scream, I might add.
He has a scream for days.
A scream for days.
A scream for days. I love it. And apparently, so whenever Freddy shows up, they apparently added whale song to the music. I don't know why I decided to say this here, but here you go. They apparently added whale song to the music whenever he's on screen to make it more like eerie and dreamlike. And this is also the only film in the series not to use Charles Bernstein's original theme or some variation of it.
Oh, okay.
So listen for the whale song when you're watching this movie.
Okay.
It's like...
Wow. Not only do you do Freddy Krueger, you do this impression.
I was going to try and keep going until I made you completely crack up, but then I laughed.
I was wondering how long you were going to go with this, and I wasn't going to stop you either.
I was going to try and go on like an uncomfortably long time, and then I couldn't stay serious.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Okay.
I actually ruined it by talking. Because you could still be doing it right now.
I could still be doing it right now.
Who would be listening would be like, what is wrong? Why is she doing this?
I'm crying. I'm laughing. Oh, God.
That's awesome.
Okay, so after he sees the glove on his hand and screams, Jesse like shows up at home at the front door with the cops. They found him wandering around naked.
Does this belong to you or something? Yeah,
his dad asks him what he's taking.
Yes,
who gave it to him?
Yeah, where'd you get it from?
He's not on drugs.
I'm not on drugs.
What are you taking? Just answer him 2 questions,
right.
and then you go to bed.
Where'd you get it?
What are you taking, and where'd you get it?
I'm not on drugs.
He's like, I'm not on drugs. I'm not on drugs, Dad.
Trying to explain that to parents is hard though sometimes. But anyway.
The next morning, Jesse's driving away to school, and his parents are talking about if he needs a psychiatrist. His mom thinks he does, but his dad thinks he just needs a good goddamn kick in the butt.
Yeah.
Was that a better one? Did I do a better job at him?
I'm just thinking of him saying it, and it's just funny.
Good goddamn kick in the butt.
That's good.
So Jesse gets to school with Lisa.
I've got no impressions for you today, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
And then it's all me today. You're leaving the burden on me, and I am failing miserably.
I'll see if I can get some later.
So Jesse and Lisa get to school, and Grady tells him the coach got wasted, as he says it, last night.
He got wasted, yeah.
That was 80s slang for killed, guys, just so you know.
Gotta bring that back.
Not he got drunk, he got wasted, he got killed.
Yes.
So that night, Jesse's in bed and he hears rattling. And he opens his desk drawer to find Freddy's glove. He goes into his sister's room with it on, and he goes into his sister's room and she's skipping rope, singing the Freddy song. And he closes the door. And the next morning, where are you going? Where are you going? I'm still talking here.
Not going anywhere.
Oh, you're getting the glove. Oh, guys, he's getting the glove.
I mean, it was just sitting
yes
there on the shelf. So
wait, will it make a screechy sound?
No, they're plastic.
Oh, boo. Well, that's probably smart. Oh, you can make the snicker sound.
You kind of hear that. Anyway.
Okay, very nice. I wanted you to make some audible sound for our listeners since they can't see the amazing glove. He's flipping me off, guys.
All right. Sorry,
very rude. Very, very rude.
Of your time. Continue, please. I'll just keep.
Yes. I mean, come on. You're being childish now.
Please continue.
So the next morning, he asks his dad why it took them 5 years to sell the house, and asks him if he knew about the murder across the street and the mom who lived there before dying in the living room.
That's right.
And the toaster all of a sudden goes crazy, and Dad realizes it wasn't even plugged in. Yep. So, by the way, Dad did know all this. He just didn't care. He's like, come on, honey, why do you think we got such a great price?
Yeah, come on now. All right.
And then later on, Lisa and Jesse are driving somewhere. And we don't know yet. We don't know where they're driving yet. And she's telling him she thinks he just dreamed the murder, that he's psychic. And they get where Lisa is directing Jesse to drive, and it's an old power plant where Fred Krueger worked.
That's right.
And she shows Jesse some articles she found about Freddy, and they go to check the place out. And Lisa tells him that Fred Krueger brought 20 kids here and killed them.
How about that? It's kind of scary.
That's, if you think about it for this is a funny horror movie, and I don't really want to think about it for real, but if you do think about it for real for a second, that's really freaking scary.
Yeah, it is.
And I think there are a couple serial killers who've gotten that many kids, and that's really horrifying.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If not more.
So she asks Jesse in there if he feels anything, but he doesn't until he sees a beat-up old locker. Mm-hmm. And they go over to it, and he opens it, and there's a rat inside.
Yeah, all right. And
that's all it is.
Gross. That'd be enough for me. I'd be out of there.
It's nothing psychic. There's just a rat inside. Matt would be a scream queen.
Oh, for that, I'd be gone.
That would be a killer scream queen for that.
Out of there.
So then it's at night again. We're in Jesse's basement. The boiler lights up, and we see a POV of someone walking through the house upstairs to his sister's room. And then we hear Freddy say, "Wake up, little girl." And then Jesse is there, and he tells her to go back to sleep, but he realizes he's wearing Freddy's glove. And he goes and takes some of those no sleeping pills.
Yeah, what was the name of them? No, it had some stupid. They weren't real.
No sleep, anti-sleep, something like that.
Dumb generic name for them. Yeah.
Stay awake. No, they were stay awake.
Stay awake. Okay.
They were stay awake pills. So he takes the stay awake pills. And then the next day, Jesse drives Lisa to school, and he tells her he had another nightmare. And then at lunch, Ron Grady's trying to get Jesse to go to a movie or do something to take his mind off it. And Jesse's like being rude to him and everyone. Ron is like, "Fine, I'll shut up then." And he leaves. And then we are at Lisa's pool party.
Pool party!
Pool party! And her mom gets her dad to go up to bed and leave the kids alone. Because he's been like tending the grill and watching over all the kids.
I mean, that's not a smart move, but whatever.
And Jesse's all morose, and Lisa follows him to the pool house to talk to him. Like morose. That. He's morose.
That's good.
And he tells her he's just gonna leave because he's not into it, and he feels like he's losing his mind. And he tells her, "I'm afraid to go to sleep. I'm afraid to stay awake. I'm ruining your party. They're gonna take me away."
Right.
She says, "Well, then we'll stay up all night together if we have to." And she says she won't let anything happen to him. And they smooch.
They sure do.
Woo woo. And
Smooch.
Cut to the kids are all like standing outside waiting for the parents to turn their bedroom light out.
That seems
and as
hilarious.
soon as that light goes out, they change the music and start jumping in the pool and screaming. Like that's not going to wake the parents up immediately. Actually, it does because the dad is like, "Wait, what? What's that?" And the mom's like, "Just leave it."
Right. He's an idiot, and she's like their kids. They're just like having a party. Like
yeah, she's like, "Just leave it."
Oh, that was hilarious.
And then Jesse and Lisa are making out, and Jesse
sort of
sees this huge purple tongue come out of his mouth and lick her chest.
Uh-huh.
And he freaks out. Oh, by the way, Jack Shoulder, the director, could not direct this scene without cracking up. So he gave it to an assistant to direct instead.
Okay. Interesting fact.
Yeah. So he freaks out. Jesse freaks out. He gets up and leaves. And then he goes to Ron Grady's house and asks if he can stay there for the night. And he tells Ron that he killed the coach, but that it wasn't him, and that it almost happened with his sister and with Lisa. And he asks Ron to watch him, and if anything starts happening to him, to stop him. And Grady, don't fall asleep.
That's like the key line in all these movies.
As we know
don't
from the first movie.
fall asleep.
What happens when you tell someone not to fall asleep?
They usually do.
They fall asleep.
Yeah, big dummies.
So Lisa's back at the party, and she tells her friend she feels like she should go see Jesse, but she can't leave her party. And her friend says, well, fuck the party. Go see him. And yes, that is the line. That is not my fuck. That is the movie's fuck.
Yes.
Those other two were mine, but that first one.
This one, yes.
Was from the movie.
Yes.
Now, after Jesse falls asleep, Grady falls asleep. And then Jesse sits up and says, oh, it's starting to happen again. And Grady gets up, and knives come out of Jesse's fingers. They like sprout under his nails.
It's like Wolverine or something, right?
Yeah, and his arm rips open and he screams, and you can see an eye looking out of his throat. And for this shot, okay, they made a dummy of Mark Patton's head.
Okay, makes sense.
With the hole in the back of the mouth for Freddy's eye to look through.
Sure, that makes sense.
And then they put this on a flat surface and had someone put their head in the opening, right?
Okay.
But the only person whose head could fit was the girlfriend of Kevin, I think it's Yeager, the special effects designer. Okay. So she's the one whose eye it is.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Because everybody else's head was too big to fit through the hole.
That's cool.
So they do the finger sprout, his arms rip open. His arm rips open, he screams, there's an eye looking out of his throat, and then he slashes his own chest with the knives. Right. And Freddy comes out of his chest, which is so good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a great effect. He's like crawling out of him. And Ron screams for his dad. And like he and his dad and mom show up, and he and his dad are trying to get the door open.
Can I point out, by the way, I had to look this up. That's Ferris Bueller's dad.
That is?
Yes, I had to look it up. It is.
Oh my God, I thought he looked familiar.
Of course, you see him just for a minute. He's only in it for like a second. And I was like, I think that's Ferris Bueller's dad. Looked it up. It is.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, so he and his dad Ron and his dad are trying to get the door open, and Freddy puts his hat on and slices Ron.
Sure does.
And then he waves to Jesse from the mirror, who now stands there wearing the glove. Mm-hmm. And we hear police sirens blaring, and Jesse goes out the window. Yeah. So now Lisa has changed her clothes for whatever reason she felt she needed to change her clothes.
Well, you got party clothes, and you got chasing after some crazy guy.
Right. She's like, I've got to go see Jesse right away. I'll just change into another cute outfit first.
I mean, you got to have an outfit. It's what it's all about.
So she's about to go out her front door, and Jesse shows up. And he tells her he kills Grady and the coach. And he says Fred Krueger's inside him. And Lisa doesn't believe it. And Jesse says...
You got to fight him, Jesse.
Jesse says, he owns me.
Yeah.
Which is so melodramatic.
Yeah, it looked in a couple different ways, yes, I would say.
So outside at the pool party, which is still going on.
Still going.
Lisa's friend, we think her name is Carrie, but Lisa's friend,
right,
asks if someone can turn down the heat in the pool. And then the hot dogs all light on fire, and they're not on the grill; they're just sitting out, like waiting.
Explode. Yeah.
And all the beer cans pop open and explode.
I love the beer. The name on the can is beer.
Yeah, it's just beer.
Just beer.
And then Lisa reads to Jesse from the end of Nancy's diary about them giving him the power he needed. And that's what she's doing the whole, like,
you gotta fight him.
You gotta fight him. You can't believe in him.
Don't give him anything, right?
And then the gate to the pool locks. And so do all the doors and windows in the house.
You kind of feel like it's the scene from Carrie happening all over again, right?
And yeah, and Lisa's saying, fight him. And Jesse's saying, I can't. And then suddenly Freddy is there. And Lisa bashes him with a lamp and runs away. But he catches her and he bites her leg.
Yeah, he does.
Oof.
I know, right?
Vicious. So she's trying to get out, right? She like runs to the French doors and she's trying to get out. And all her friends are trying to get in.
Yeah.
And then she grabs a knife. And Jesse, like, inside Freddy is like, kill me, Lisa. Please kill me. Through Freddy's mouth. And then she stabs Freddy, but, like, absolutely nothing happens.
Yeah.
It's just like, he just stands there.
Yeah.
And Jesse says, I love you, Lisa. And then Freddy grabs her face, and Freddy says it too. I love you, Lisa. And then he pushes her away, and he jumps through the door to the outside and disappears. And everything else stops. And then Freddy jumps out of the pool and starts wreaking havoc outside.
Not a fun pool party anymore.
Which, by the way...
At this point.
Okay, but this whole scene...
Yeah.
Everybody's awake.
Yes. Well, he crossed into the real world, right?
So he's actually... We're saying that he needed Jesse to cross out of dreams into the real world.
That's right.
Okay, does this happen in any... Well, we'll find out if it happens in any of the other
don't
movies.
ruin anything. We have 2 more to go.
We don't want to ruin it. I've never seen them. I have 2 more to go.
We do
At
ruin
least 2 more to go.
We're not going to ruin things ahead of time. How about that? We won't do that.
We're not going to ruin them for me. We're just going to ruin them for you.
Yeah, for you.
So Freddy jumps out of the pool. He starts wreaking havoc. The fence is like electrified, so kids can't get out. And the pool lights on fire, and then everything else lights on fire, and Freddy's killing whoever he can get.
It's like they're trying to be like Carrie at the end, right? That's kind of what I thought of. I mean, it's not done very well, obviously, but
yeah, totally. And then one guy steps out, and he's like trying to talk him down.
What is it you want, man? We can get you what you need, right?
Yeah, that was a good impression.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't work.
No.
It just really doesn't work.
But I don't know if he kills that guy. He just kind of tosses him aside. We don't know if he dies.
True, but it doesn't calm him down.
No.
For sure, it does not calm him down. And then Freddy says, "You are all my children now."
Right, I love that line.
And Lisa and her parents come outside, and her dad's got a shotgun. And Freddy looks at her.
He's not a very good shot, is he?
No, and Freddy looks at her, and then he leaves.
He just kind of goes through the bushes, like he disappears, yeah.
Yes, cut to. Lisa's driving Jesse's car to the power plant. And then when she gets there are dogs with little kitty faces who growl at her.
I'm trying to figure that one out, too. I don't have an answer for you on that one. I'm sorry.
But they do let her pass.
They do.
So it seems like that was just an excuse for some special effects.
Cerberus or something? What's the dog?
No, but it's not Cerberus because Cerberus has 3 heads. One dog with 3 heads.
Oh, okay, never mind.
These are 2 separate dogs, each with 1 kitty face.
This is what I say to that.
It makes no sense. Anyways,
I don't know.
They're weird, and they let her go by. So she walks into the power plant, and she's walking through it, and Freddy's like stalking her. And then she feels something on her leg that was bit. And she had already like tied a wrap around it. And she sees a bunch of bugs crawling on her wound. But then she looks down and suddenly realizes that they aren't there.
Right.
And then a really scary rat runs towards her.
Yes,
which would have Matt screaming again.
Yeah.
And an even scarier cat eats the rat.
Yes, I love that. The cat eat. That was weird. I thought that was Church from Pet Sematary. Oh my god.
Well, so we've got weird dogs, cats, and rats now.
We're in this bizarre world of yes.
Yeah. And then then Lisa just runs away.
Mm-hmm.
And then Freddy is like right next to her, and then she runs away from him. And then he comes after her, and she calls out, "I love you, Jesse." And Freddy starts to bleed. And then she runs away and Freddy calls her to come back to him. And Lisa says, I'm not afraid of you. He's in there and I want him back. And she tells Freddy she doesn't believe in him.
Struggle of good against evil.
Yes. And Freddy says, he'll die with me. He'll die with both of us. And then she kisses Freddy.
That's right.
And he pushes her away and he falls back. And the whole place goes up in flames as Freddy melts and lights on fire and dies. And the fires burn out. And then Freddy's arm raises. And it's Jesse. And Lisa goes to him and she holds him.
Hold me.
And then a school bus comes down the street. Cut to, by the way, new scene.
Yeah.
School bus comes down the street and Jesse leaves his house to get on it.
Oh, so that scene.
And he's all happy.
He looks. It's I'm trying to explain. Like his arms are all burned up or whatever, but he like turns and looks at his mom, and he gets like this moment of like, yes, I'm so excited, and just jumps in the air and then runs on the bus.
Yeah, he's all happy.
It's so weird. Yeah, I'm sorry.
And he goes to get on the bus, and he goes to sit with Lisa on the bus, and then the bus starts going faster. And only Jesse notices, but then everything seems normal again. We're going too fast, yeah, he's like, we're going too fast. And they're like, what are you talking about? And everything seems normal again. And then Lisa's friend says, Jesse, it's okay. It's all over. And then Freddy's hand bursts through her chest.
Yeah.
And the bus speeds off through the brush.
Love it.
And
that's
end.
It. And that is the end of the sequel to Nightmare on Elm Street. Yes.
That is. That is indeed.
I think it's interesting that you mentioned the point about the Wes Craven not being involved. You know, some of these guys, they make these movies, they don't want anything to do with them for like a sequel, right? And then maybe they come on later.
Right. Because he came back for 3, right?
Yes. I don't think he directed. I think he produced it. But Carpenter's had some hands in some other things. And sometimes these sequels just don't go right. Like Halloween 3, I know that's part 3, but Season of the Witch has no Michael Myers in it, and people were like, what is going on here? This is kind of weird. The idea of like a different killer was explored in Friday the 13th part 6, is it? The New Blood, or not the New Blood, where it's not Jason, it's a copycat killer.
Right.
And that did not go over well. So I say swing and a miss on this.
Yeah, so apparently part of the problem on this movie was that studio head Bob Shea, micromanaged it, like everything on it.
Well,
and he would like kind of overstep and give like crew members and stuff direction, which which the director Jack Shoulder should have been doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it was kind of uneasy there.
That's a disaster in whatever line of work you're in. That leads to chaos no matter what you're doing. So that's terrible. I didn't know that, but that's not good. Yeah. I like the character of Freddy Krueger. I like going deeper with him, but for me, this one doesn't have a whole lot in it for me.
So the thing I like about this one, though, even though it's like you said, it's not really in the mold, right? It's not really in the mold of the series. I like that the guy is the one who's acting crazy and who nobody believes.
Yes, that's
always a woman who's like, something's happening and nobody believes me. And I like that it's a guy.
That's a good point, and I think that's goes into this whole thing of I think it plays into the homoerotic part of it too. It's a different thing. He's playing that role. It's different, and this woman, this girl, whatever you want to call her, her age, or supposed to be high school kids, I guess. You know,
young lady,
right? She's clearly into this guy, and he's trying to make out with her, and he abruptly stops and runs off to a dude's house, and it's like, okay, there's just moments like that are in there. We talked about that. That's fine. I don't have any issue with that. It works in there. It doesn't make anything different or weird about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, him being that, Scream King or whatever you wanted to call her or something, male Scream Queen. Yeah, totally. That is interesting because there aren't a lot of dudes that end up playing that role.
Yeah, and I kind of, maybe I'm a sap, but I kind of like that it's like the love
I like it. Yeah,
that gets Freddy to go away. Okay, although of course it's not the end because when they get on the school bus, it's
we have
bad
10
again.
more sequels after that. So yeah,
right. So
yeah, there's definitely cool parts I liked. You know, but overall, I mean, I watched it again previous to this because I hadn't seen it in a long time, but it's definitely not on a list of movies that I've seen many, many times. I've probably seen it twice, to be honest. That's probably it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I wasn't as meh as you were. I actually kind of enjoyed it.
Okay.
I actually kind of did.
It's not awful.
Yeah, I mean,
There's way worse movies.
The thing that surprised me, though, is that I always hear about Freddy and all of his quips and how he's like the funny, like, bad guy in these slasher films, right?
His one-liners.
And yeah, you hear about his one-liners, but I didn't think there were very many one-liners in this movie either. So maybe they come up in the next movie. Maybe they're coming.
Be patient. Be patient. Yeah.
But I was surprised because I always expected
you'll get your one-liners.
The one-liners. I want the one-liners, guys.
You're gonna get them.
Who's with me? I want the one-liners.
You'll get them soon. Don't worry.
What are we? Horror fans. What do we want? One-liners. When do we want them?
Now. You will be rewarded. Don't worry.
Okay.
I promise you. In fact, the next one has a great one in it. You're gonna love it.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, I'm telling you right
I
now.
hope so.
And
if it's not great, I'm blaming you.
Fine. I don't care. I'm telling you, you're gonna like it. You're gonna like it.
So yeah, I don't know. I did kind of enjoy this one.
Good. I'm glad you did.
I thought it was fun. It was kind of dumb, and it is weird that they changed it that all of a sudden he can like kill people through someone.
But you know, like I said, yeah,
and needs to kill people through someone. That's weird too. That he can't kill people unless he's killing through someone. That was kind of weird.
And that's what reminds me of that Friday the 13th installment. Yeah, that was the same kind of thing. So. Yeah, okay, interesting enough.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it. So anything else other than next up, more Halloween fun next week with Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors, which I hear is one of the best ones.
Yes, you've heard right. It's very good.
I hear it's really good, and I'm excited.
Yeah. You're going to like this one. This one is a good one.
I can't wait to watch it. I'm very excited about it.
I am a fan of it. I enjoy it very much.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Okay, I'm ready for this. So I think that's it from us today, guys. Just please remember to subscribe, follow the podcast, rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, wherever the heck you're listening, so more people can find us. And send us your movie suggestions, thoughts on the movies we watched so far, making fun of us, whatever.
Yes.
To thescarymovieproject@gmail.com. And you can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram @The Scary Movie Project. See ya!
Remember, a penny saved is a penny earned.
It is.
The Scary Movie Project podcast is produced by Tara Garwood and Matt Lolich. Learn more at thescarymovieproject.com.